Hello and welcome to the story behind the devotion. I'm Pastor Matt. Today I'm joined by Pastor Keith on the second day of our 21 days of seeking God. He's going to tell us the story behind today's devotion and what it means to him.
Yes, and I'm so honored to do it. Today's scripture is Deuteronomy 31:8, and it says, "Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord will personally go ahead of you. He will be with you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you." You know, when we're children and we're born, we kind of grow up and we think to ourselves, I'm always going to be taken care of. I'm always going to be safe, and mom and dad are always there for me. And then slowly, as we mature and grow, we discover that our parents can make mistakes. They're not always right. And sometimes an event or a crisis happens that jolts us ahead. And for me personally, that happened whenever I was 13 years old, and my parents actually got a divorce. And I was living with my father in an apartment in Titusville. And I remember that whole time trying to, grow up in adolescence and discover what it is and get to know my dad better. And I didn't understand that he was going through such, terrible times and having to fight through that season. And one day he grabbed a hold of me and he just started bawling his eyes out and crying on my shoulder. And it scared me as a 13-year-old. It scared me that my hero, the man that was always right, that always had his life together, was suddenly needing my help and was weak. And it was very sobering. And really what I discovered in that jolt and in that crisis moment was that people are going to let us down. Sometimes people are going to fail us. They're going to abandon us. Sometimes they're going to just be wrong and hurt us. But one thing will always stand true, and that is God. God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I learned through that season that God was there for me. Just as like this verse says, He'll be with you. He'll neither fail you nor abandon you. And that's what I want to tell you today. And reading this devotional is that God is there for you always. The same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, no matter what. When we put our trust in people and our trust in what we can do, our own strength, our own power, it's going to let us down. But when we put our strength in God, it's always there for us. It will never, ever change. And that's how God reaches out to us, with His power, with His might, with His strength as a Father that is unfailing. And my relationship with my dad now is incredible and wonderful, and we both grew through that season. But what I learned most of all was that God was my strength no matter what.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Keith, and thank you for everybody joining us today. We encourage you to go to the website and our app to join us in this 21-day devotion.